We saved serious cash with our Progressive Home and Auto bundle and used the money to buy a new boat.
Who's ready to water ski?
This is not a real testimonial. Sure, customers can save big money with Progressive, but not enough for a new boat. They'll probably spend it on rent or gas money or maybe one of those little plastic wading pools for the yard.
Ahoy there!
Is what the captain might say. On the toy boat. In your wading pool. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Welcome to GigRadio, the new music podcast from GigRadio.
Hey guys, and welcome to episode 12 of GigRadio, the new rock and metal podcast from GigRadio. We've got a great episode for you today that includes an interview with Colin Doran, the frontman of brand new project They Fell From The Sky, and formerly of early 2000s heroes 100 Reasons. And with this brand new British band warming our ears this week, we thought we would restrict this episode to all things new British rock and metal. So we're going to play you Colin's new band's debut single, along with a whole host of brand new music from British bands.
Hi guys, I'm Jay.
And I'm Aaron.
And we're from Idols to Ashes, and you're listening to GigRadio.
We're going to kick this episode off with a track from our current new band of the week. The band is called Beyond Extinction. They're from Essex, and they fuse metalcore with deathcore and death metal. They also have fairly lofty ambitions of becoming one of the big UK metal bands, but with tracks like God Complex, these aren't hollow claims. This is a band that's going places. And, of course, they're very heavy. Get a taste for yourself with God Complex by Beyond Extinction.
remind pet owners that Progressive covers pets in our auto policy at no extra charge, we're making a really cute pet-themed radio commercial. Hear that snoring? 2 sleeping puppies. Oh, they're awake! And they're heading over to that cute chubby baby that's just sitting there. What? Oh, now they're licking his face. Words will never do this justice. You'll just have to picture it.
Get coverage for your pets with an auto policy from Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Coverage for cats and dogs included with the purchase of collision coverage and is subject to policy terms.
That was God Complex, which is the opening track from Beyond Extinction's second EP, The Fatal Flaws of Humankind. To find out more about the band, just head over to our website, gigradar.co.uk, to check out the interview with them. Up next, we've got our interview with Colin Doran from the brand new band They Fell From the Sky. The band is a project between Colin, Jason Bold, who is in Pitch Shifter and Bullet for My Valentine, and several others. They've just released their debut single, Dry. So we had a chat with Colin about the new band, the differences between launching a band now and doing so in 1999 with 100 Reasons, and much more. So enjoy the interview, and we will roll it straight into the new single, Dry. Hey guys, we're here having a chat with Colin Doran, who's formerly of 100 Reasons, of course, and is now with the brand new band They Fell From the Sky. Colin, thanks a lot for joining us. It's great to talk to you. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm good, thank you. Just chilling out on a nice Friday afternoon. So yeah, nice to see you.
Lovely stuff. Obviously, we're talking at a time where lockdown is ongoing, but we're on the verge of things starting to kind of ease up and open up in the UK. I wanted to ask you how the lockdown has been for you and what you've been kind of doing to keep yourself busy during that period.
I've been quite lucky. I have a house and I have a garden. So I know there's probably people that have done better than me, but I've also, I think, fared better than some others too. So I think lockdown has made me appreciate things a lot more in a positive way. Things like family, spending a lot more time with family and actually not pissing each other off has been a bonus. That's worked out quite well. So I've also been quite lucky in the fact that, the role that I have as my day job, if you will, has meant that I've managed to keep working. So I haven't had any issues in terms of that either. So, I mean, lockdown's not been ideal, I think, for many people. But I think it's been okay. I'm doing okay.
Good stuff. So the main reason we're chatting to you today is because you've started a new band called They Fell From the Sky. For anyone who's around my age and into rock music, this is really exciting news. It's like the super group of dreams between 100 Reasons and Pitch Shifter. But I know you and Jason collaborated on his other project, This Is Menace.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
How did this guy come about, and who else is involved in the band?
So I think, Jason and I, we always sort of seem to do stuff on and off together anyway. And I think we just had a pretty good relationship in terms of, when we sort of hung out doing This Is Menace stuff. So, yeah, I mean, you just kind of had a couple of ideas floating around and he threw them my way and I really liked them. And then it sort of started from there. It started quite some time ago, actually, like a really long time ago. And it's something that's kind of just been worked on. A lot of the songs have had a few different sort of iterations as they've sort of come to fruition. And I think that's been actually quite a nice thing to just be able to work on something that doesn't really have any pressure to it. Yeah. You're not trying to get anything out of it other than to have other people hear it. That's all we've really wanted. So no sort of lofty goals to suddenly try and have a go at being a, full on musician again or something like that. And just along the way, we had a couple of other people that were interested and helped out too. So we had Leo and Mez, who played bass on it. It's produced by a guy called Dave Draper, who's just amazing. And he's just finished recording the latest Wild Hearts record and stuff like that. And he's just a wonderful human being. So it's taken a long time, but I think it's turned out amazing. I'm really happy about it. And yeah, it's just something that's sort of come together. And there was times when I think we did a couple of shows and that kind of thing. And then we thought, well, do we really want to? Is this something we want to pursue? And again, you kind of have those conversations, when you're in a young band trying to get out there, it's a very, very selfish thing. And it becomes way more selfish when you are older and you have children and commitments and things like that. So it's a lot harder to say to the wife, hi, I'm going to piss off in a van for 3 weeks. see you when I get back with absolutely no money and I've used up all my holiday. So those are things that are sort of taken into consideration in sort of how you sort of approach something like this. But it's been written for quite some time, and areas of it been recorded for a while, and then we've gone back to it. But generally, it's just something I just think is fantastic, and I just want people to hear it.
Yeah, sounds great. Obviously, you guys bring together kind of a range of different musical styles and backgrounds, but what kind of approach is this band taking musically? Is it really heavy, or is it kind of like towards the mainstream side of things? What should people expect from it? I
mean, the one thing that I always do when I write, and I think Jason's in the same sort of boat, is and Dave Draper wrote some of it too, but it's just about writing what you like, and not really worrying about what the end result will be. It's when you go into a room or you listen back to it and go, do you really like that? And if the answer is yes, then that's fine. I mean, if I'm going to write something, generally I make rock music. That's kind of what I do. So it's kind of going to end up that way anyhow. But there's definitely no restrictions that go on the writing. It's just, is it a good song, and do you really like it, and you want to, put it out there, and that's the only real thing. Genres, at the end of the day, people will put their own thought processes into what they feel the genre is, and they'll put a label on it, but you leave that to other people to do that.
Exactly, yeah. I think these days genres are much more fluid. I think we're seeing a lot, for example, we're seeing a lot of bands that are metalcore, but they also have elements of like electro, and they'll throw in like EDM and different sounds in different songs as well. So I think these days it's much less of an issue, to be honest.
Well, yeah, and I mean, if you continue down the same path with writing music, then it just becomes a derivative anyway, and it just becomes less and less interesting.
Exactly.
Unless you're kind of one of the originators of a certain sort of style, but generally that's how it kind of turns out. So yeah, just, I mean, there's songs on it that are really heavy. There's stuff on there that's like amazingly melodic, and some of the choruses on it are just absolutely huge. But in other areas it's shouty and mean and dirty. So it just kind of depends on what you're doing at the time, and when I kind of sing, I spend quite a lot of time not just thinking about the notes, but genuinely thinking about the sound that I'm trying to achieve. So and I think that's kind of, I think, a little bit about sort of what lends itself to being sort of quite different anyway in some areas, at least from what I'm used to doing.
Cool, sounds good. The first taste we've got of this is Dry, which is the first single from a debut album, which is coming soon. What should people be expecting from Dry as a first taste of the band?
It's really just a statement of intent. It's quite heavy. It's got a bit of melody in it. I don't think it's the best song on the album, just so you know, and I mean that in a good way. I'm not trying to diss the song at all. I think the song's great, but it's not the best song on the album. So I'm really excited to hear what else comes out. But it gives a good indication of who we are and what we do.
Sounds great. We've had a sneak preview of the song, and it does sound good. So if it's not the best song, then
I am quite glad you said that as well. Yeah, I've had a sneak. No, mate, it's crap. You are right. It's definitely the worst song. But no.
What's the one song you're most keen for people to hear then from the album? What do you think is the best song?
I think, well, that's down
your
to
personal favourite. Yeah.
The next single is fucking huge. Yeah, it's really, I mean, the next single, it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing.
Awesome.
And then there's another track on the record that is probably what I might call my personal favourite.
Okay.
And that's Staring at the Sun, which is, but that's because I'm like it's really heavy again, but just not in a sort of thrashy way. It's quite groovy and heavy, which I quite like.
Cool. Sounds good. And do you have an idea of the time frame for the album? It sounds like you're releasing singles gradually, but do you?
Yeah, so it'll be the summer. So I'll be in the summer.
Okay, cool.
So, yeah, I don't think we've got anything more firm than that at the moment, but yeah, the summertime.
Great. Sounds good. Yeah, I think there's a lot for people to look forward to, and obviously there's going to be singles coming out in the meantime. So yeah, a lot to look into. A lot of people obviously will know you and recognise your voice from 100 Reasons. You guys came out at a time when the music industry was very different to what it is now. There was no social media, there was no streaming. And like, obviously, for a personal experience, having loads of CDs was the main way that you consumed music. But I'm interested in how big a difference do you see now between launching a new band in 2021 and launching your previous band in 1999? Like, how much of a difference is there between it?
Well, I think it's more just now a lot of people are sort of using aggregators. So I think record labels still have a value for sure in terms of being able to sort of market an artist and, you know, take their career maybe a lot further, at least, than artists that don't have sort of marketing behind them, and, you know, the ability to find their audience correctly. So I think the main difference is just that the amount of music that's now released, because, you know, so much is out there. I mean, I think I read somewhere there's like 40,000 new songs go on Spotify on it every day.
Wow.
I kind of liken that sort of mentality to like chucking a pound off the side of a mountain and then hoping that somebody just happens to walk past and find it.
Yeah.
You know, and so it's a lot more difficult, I think, to not necessarily be heard so much, but to have people invest their time in you.
Yeah.
Because normally in the old days, you know, and you can talk about the old days too much, but I'm well aware the industry's changed. So, you know, that's just a fact. But in the old days, you went and bought your album or a couple of albums that came out that Monday or whatever, and then you go and you would take the time to listen to them. And if you didn't maybe like the song straight away, you'd listen to it again. Yeah. Whereas a lot, you know, because you probably just give it another chance. You'd be sitting there and you think, oh, maybe it's a grower, I'll give it another go. But these days it's generally, move on.
Yeah.
And I think, not for me personally, and I don't think, you know, you've got Architects doing very well this week in the midweeks. I think when this goes out, you'll probably know that they're probably actually at number one this week, Architects, and then you've got Mogwai the other week as well. So, you know, there's still a lot of room, I think, in the rock world for sort of what you might call a traditional album. But in the pop world, you know, that's completely different. And I think in terms of songwriting and the way the songs are written and arranged, it's all about complete immediacy, which is just how it is. I think in some areas as well, you know, there's, you know, production is still really good, but maybe in some areas there's a lot of room for improvement. And I think sometimes when engineers are recording records, they're understanding that the audience is possibly listening to them on Apple earbuds through their phone rather than on the old school, you know, nice set of headphones, that kind of thing. So yeah, I think it's changed quite a lot, obviously, but I'm not against it now. I think it's just understanding that when you write and release music these days, that if you're intending to make money out of the actual sales of your albums, it's unlikely.
Yeah, we were talking to the band the other day. They were talking of like the different kind of ways that they're making money for all trying to kind of market themselves. It's all about just getting out there, like doing merch, and when gigs get started, doing gigs. It's just a different way of doing things these days, isn't it?
Well, it is. I mean, at the end of the day, you don't have any revenue streams unless you have the music in the first place.
Yeah, exactly.
Obviously, you still need that, but the music itself, the recordings aren't necessarily something that's going to allow you to, you know, buy a house or sail off into the sunset in a solid gold boat or something like that. So, you know, at least from that side of things, it's changed that way. But I think if people understand that, you know, you just go, well, that's kind of how it is. And, you know, if you want to be creative and you want to, you know, and there's nothing wrong with making money out of the music that you make at all, because if you don't make money out of it, you don't get to do it. So you should try and make money out of it. So from that perspective, you've got to explore those different areas.
I know you've collaborated with some bands in the last couple of years or so, including one of our favourite new bands, Wars, on one of their songs. So I'm interested in whether you listen to you mentioned Architects as well. Like, do you listen to new bands, and what kind of music are you listening to at the moment?
I think I don't necessarily consciously listen to new bands. I tend to just listen to music as and when it crosses my path. So I don't necessarily actively seek out, what's all going on this week, what's happening here and there, and all that kind of stuff. I don't tend to feel the need to be as on it as maybe I was, you know, a bunch of years ago. I mean, the whole Wars thing was just really good fun. I got like an email from Matt O'Grady, who's the producer, and he sort of reached out to me, and, you know, and it was just a good song. And I got a lot of love for those guys as well. They're just really nice people.
Yeah.
And, you know, we still talk now. and catch up on the phone and stuff. And
cool.
they're just lovely people. And I think when something like that happens, it's not about anything other than a chance to be creative and do something cool. And that's kind of why I went in. That's kind of why I did it. And I do get offers to do stuff, but it's very rare that I do it. Just because it's maybe not really the right thing for me to do, or just something I'm just start sitting and thinking, well, I want to care about what I do rather than just to do everything or anything that kind of comes my way.
Okay, cool. Obviously we focus on new rock and metal bands, so it's a little bit different for us to be able to chat to someone who's been there and done it and is doing it again. I wondered if you have any advice for a brand new band who's looking to get their music out there in 2021.
I think just, it's a social media age. So just make sure that you're on it with your socials. Make sure that you're, communicating with your fans or potential fans. Don't look at everybody as a cash cow. Look at people, look at everything that someone that's interested in your music is like an ongoing relationship. And just treat people well, treat people kind. If you're going to go out and play shows, which hopefully you will do soon, be that band that everyone just gets on with. And just don't be a dick, because no one cares about you later on, right? If your band doesn't make it or doesn't do very well, the only thing they'll remember from you is your music was, what it was, good, bad, average, whatever. But they will remember that you're a bell end.
Yeah. So
just be nice to people and just, be cool. Doesn't matter what mood you're in, but just be cool. And, a lot of opportunities come that way. I don't think we were massive fans of every single band that we toured with, because you're just not going to be.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if you can connect with somebody on a human level and just go, well, they're just really nice guys, that does actually help people like your music more.
Yeah. I was listening to, I don't know if you heard of this podcast called Sappenin Podcast.
Yeah, I think that's happening, with Sean.
Yeah. He did an episode with, I think, one of the fellow members of his band, The Blackout, and they both mentioned the same band as being dickheads. So yeah, like you say, like if you're a dickhead, people will remember it like 10, 20 years later, and that's all they'll remember. Yeah.
And the one thing is that, yes, have your style, have your branding, have your image and what have you, but just don't let that be the be all and end all, because that isn't the be all and end all. Just don't be shit. Be good and know when you're shit and be honest about it. And that's the only thing I would say. You're going to be your own filter, but don't go in blindly thinking that, everything you do is the best thing ever, because it absolutely isn't. And the amount of shit ideas that are on the cutting room floor of any band, including the bands I've been in, is hilarious. And also, if you're just trying to literally make those first steps, play shows, be shit, because you got to learn and you got to get good by learning. But don't necessarily present your music in an official way to like a record label or something like that without making sure that it's the best offering that it can be.
Okay, brilliant. Going back to They Fell From the Sky, also you've got the album coming up, you've got a few singles coming out. What else do you guys have planned through the rest of the year?
Well, I think the idea at the moment, and I'm going to just add the caveat in here to say never, but the intention is for it to be just a studio project, to get people to just listen to it and hopefully enjoy it, or if not, hate it. It's up to you. Honestly, I won't lose any sleep if you hate it. So yeah, just listen to the music, enjoy it if you do, and then if not, move on. But that's just all I really want. I just want people to hear it.
Are there any inspirations behind the album, or any kind of key themes or topics that have kind of inspired you to write it?
I think, as you get older, I think one of the things that you do is you deal with loss more. So there's definitely some stuff around that, and I think it's probably one of and some of the songs are sort of observations of human behaviour and how we are. We're animals at the end of the day, and although we can always try and have that higher thought process that allows us to not always behave like animals, subconsciously or without thinking about it, we do.
Yeah,
and we do that quite a lot. And I think it's just just sort of looking at the way that sort of certain people behave, and sort of not sort of trying to understand why. I'm not into that kind of psychoanalysis stuff, to be that sort of person, but just sort of looking at people and thinking, well, you've done this, you've done that, and and yeah, it's just I mean, I don't sort of go in with an idea when I write a song. Generally what I do is throw down some melody ideas whilst ad-libbing, and then the story kind of comes from there.
Mm-hmm.
Or the lyrics come from that, when a word pops out that I quite like, and then and then that allows me something like, okay, well that could, then you explore further.
Cool, sounds good. And a final question for you: is there anything else you want people to know about They Fell From the Sky, the project, what's coming up? Anything at all that you want people to know about it?
It's just got some great people in the band that are just really good musicians. Jason Bold obviously plays in Bullet for My Valentine as well.
Yeah.
Dave Draper is just a wonderful human being who's produced it. And it's just been a real labour of love. And it's something I've just, stupidly proud of in terms of how it's come about. It's taken a long time to come about, but I think it's, at least for me, it's been worth it. And actually being able to write songs and sort of go back to them without there being a pressure for them to, well, you've got to release it now, I've got to get them out now, has been just a different kind of experience for me. And I've really enjoyed it. So the songs, some of them are like first iteration, some of them are like 3 or 4 do-overs almost.
Okay.
So I've really enjoyed that process and being able to sort of go back and do it. And also, have something new again and fresh, which is always exciting.
Yeah, definitely sounds really exciting. We're looking forward to hearing it. Colin, thanks so much for joining us. It's been a pleasure to talk to you. And yeah, we're looking forward to the music coming out.
Nice one, Rob. Okay, well, listen, thanks loads. And just want to say, I think what you guys do is great. Supporting new artists, supporting new bands. It's just a really cool thing to do. So yeah, keep doing it.
Thanks a lot. We will. Thanks a lot.
All right. Catch you later. Bye.
nya nya nya. Ba, ba, Babue, Zimbabwe. The broken Bunsen burner burns so bright. South,
Jamie.
Southeast Asian Peninsula.
Hey, Jamie?
Yes?
I think the only line we need from you today is drivers who switch to progressive could say big.
Cool, I just gotta finish my warm-ups. Foul, throw in the towel. History.
Switch to Progressive today.
Santa ski slalom in a salmon skin suit.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Welcome back. We just played you Dry, the debut single from They Fell From the Sky, which is out now. And if that's not the best track from the album, then we have a lot to look forward to. Thanks to Colin for taking the time to have a chat with us, and you can find out more about the band in our article over at GigRadio.co.uk. As I mentioned, we're going to keep this episode all British, and speaking of new, exciting British bands, brings us on to one of our favourites on the site, As Everything Unfolds. They are a 6-piece band from High Wycombe, who we first saw supporting our friends at Defences around 4 years ago. We've since seen them play live at least 4 or 5 times, interviewed them in the back of a car, which you can listen to in the pilot episode of Gig Radio, and they've got their debut album coming out this Friday. We've got an album review coming sometime this week, and from the album is their latest single, On the Inside.
from Searchline, and you're listening to Gig Radio.
That was On the Inside from As Everything Unfolds. And like I said, keep an eye out on the website for a review of their debut album, because it is absolutely huge and you're going to want to listen to it. So keep an eye out for that. Up next is another brand new track from another exciting British band whose name also begins with As. As December Fools are a pop rock meets pop punk band from Nottingham. They're totally independent, which has seen them build a really loyal fan base. This is their new single, Tears, which was released last Friday.
got tears in your ears from where you've been lying down when you cry. Oh, why you gotta always cry? You fought and we settled. You fought and we meddled. You fought. Can't even see the light. I really think that I can put up quite a fight. I really think that I need to keep moving. Take me higher than you ever did see before. Than you ever did see. Than you ever did see. You ever did see before. Than you ever did see. Than you ever did see. You ever did see before. Today was a bad day. Got me feeling so sad, out of place. I feel like I'm running out of time to win this race. Being at war with myself, no saying it's a call out for help. Well, it's not healthy, I say. I know you see straight through me. I really think that I can put up quite a fight. I really think that I need to keep moving. Take me higher than you ever did see before. Than you ever did see. Than you ever did see. You ever did see before. Than you ever did see. Than you ever did see. You ever did see before. God knows that I need saving, but I don't want your help. Heaven knows I need no savior, 'cause I can only save myself. God knows that I need saving, but I don't want your help. Heaven knows I need no savior, 'cause I can only save Take me higher than you ever did see before. Than you ever did see. Than you ever did see. You ever did see before. Than you ever did see. Than you ever did see. You ever did see before. Than you ever did see. Than you ever did see. Than you ever did see before. Than you ever did see. Than you ever did see. Than you ever did see before. That you ever did see, that you ever did see, that you ever did see before. That you ever did see, that you ever did see, that you ever did see before. That you ever did see, that you ever did see, that you ever did see before. That you ever did see, that you ever did see, that you ever did see before.
Hey, what's up? My name is Chung from Windrunner,
I'm Nam from Windrunner,
and you're listening to GigRadio.
There's a buzz in the air by the glow of the lamps. The city's a lady, the city's a tramp. I said I'd be there by 6, but it's already 8. It's the state of the times, now time's at the stake. When there's history to make, tripping over bottle tops, skip round syringes, trolleys in the river and gates off the hinges. It feels so real to me. It feels so real to me. It feels so real to me. Feels so, feels so. feels so real to me. It feels so real to me. It feels so real to me. Yeah, it feels so, and it feels so real to me. It feels so real to me. It feels so real to me. Yeah, it feels so real. And a 20th sign says you'll never find love. You'll never find love. No, you'll never find love until you buy these gloves. And through a chink in the night, the last of the light hits your delicate face. I'll smile. I'll smile. It feels so real to me. It feels so real to me. It feels so real to me. It feels so, and it feels so real to me. Yeah, it feels so real to me. It feels so real to me. Yeah, feels so real to me.
We just played you Tears by December Fools and followed that up with Feels So Real by the Clockworks, who are an exciting new Irish band who are based in London. We published an interview with the band on Friday, and you can read that over at gigradar.co.uk. Now, this podcast is being released exactly 1 year to the day since I arrived back in the UK after having to cancel my travel plans and went into lockdown. One of the things that kept me entertained during lockdown has been watching bands doing live streams and lockdown content. And one of the best examples of that has been Norwich band Pray Drive, who are our new band of the week back in August 2017. The band have performed a series of isolation tapes that just so happened to include a cover of 100 Reasons track Silver. So it seemed like perfect symmetry to play Pray Drive's brand new track, OMG.
Myself
We just played you OMG by Prey Drive, which was released last week. You can catch all of their isolation tapes, which includes covers of tracks by Funeral for a Friend, Thrice, Placebo, over on their YouTube channel. We're going to close out this episode with another one of the most exciting bands on the British rock scene. This is Cardiff band Holding Absence and their latest single, In Circles. It comes from the band's second album, The Greatest Mistake of My Life, which is out next month. Thank you for listening, and a huge thanks to Colin from They Fell From The Sky for chatting to us on the episode. All of these bands prove how exciting the British rock and metal scene is, so go and give them all a listen and continue to support new music. Also, if you enjoyed this episode, then do please consider giving us a review and giving us a rating on whatever podcast platform you use, as it really helps us to grow and improve the podcast for the future. For now, enjoy Holding Absence with In Circles.
Crushed like a bug, undone. The weight of listlessness. Maybe I could have learned how to fly, but the wings never sprouted. People just go on and on in circles, in circles. Just go on and on in circles, in circles. I'll wait till the sound of the hum of the earth just spinning around, and there's not much for me to tell, but count the days and look at photos of you. People just go on and on in circles, in circles. People just go on and on in circles, in circles. To have thought that I was worth more than just a short life and a lifetime under dirt. Dare to dream, that's what you told me. There's more to life than just your reluctant love, your begrudging touch. You sat like the sun, maybe that's enough. But if we lay here, maybe we could stay here, maybe we could die here. Wouldn't that be fine, dear? I'll wait till the sound of the hum of the earth just spinning around, and there's not much for me to tell, but count the days and look at photos of you. People just go on and on in circles, in circles. People just go on and on in circles, in circles. People just get lost inside of this cookie circles, just like a flower too afraid to blow. People just get lost inside of this cookie circles, in
Thank you for listening to Gig Radio, the new music podcast from Gig Radar.
thing about comparing rates at Progressive.com is that by now you've heard a lot of ads about comparing rates at Progressive.com. We probably don't even need the words comparing rates anymore to remind you that seasoning steaks at Progressive.com is an easy way to save on car insurance, or that swimming in trousers helps you find the lowest rate. And that's the thing about foraging for truffles. You've heard a lot of ads about standing tiptoe on a cinder block. Compare rates and sing softly to a wounded field mouse and save at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Comparison rates not available in all states or situations.
When it comes to mornings, Wendy's is always the right choice. And now that our honey butter chicken biscuit is $1.99, it's easy to steer clear of bad breakfast. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's.
Limited time only at participating U.S. Wendy's during breakfast hours. A la carte only. Not valid in a combo.